Hi, Dr. Robin here. Welcome to my channel about the intersection of travel and science. This isn't going to be a typical video for this channel because the science video I was working on was taking a lot longer than I wanted, so I thought I'd quickly throw together a video about a cool story from my past. I'm actually in front of my green screen now. I took this background picture right around the time the story happened in 2013. But what you're about to hear is an actual science travel story that may well be the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. And the sad part is, I don't remember any of it. I don't travel much for science now, in part because I'm usually teaching. But when I was in grad school, I had the opportunity to do some really amazing science out at sea. As you know, I went to grad school in Colorado, so this usually meant shipping a whole bunch of equipment to a port thousands of miles away and then flying there myself with a lab mate or two. We'd board a research vessel with a dozen or two other scientists and squeeze in as many experiments as we could before we had to go home. This particular story happens right as I was about to head out on my last research cruise of grad school. My lab mate Kelly and I flew out to San Diego and headed for the Scripps Marine facility. Normally when you're going out to sea, you sleep on board ship the night before. That way you can set sail as soon as the tide goes out in the morning. But if the entire ship's complement, there were only 3 of us who were coming from out of town, so there were only 3 of us on board the RV New Horizon the night before we sailed, which was the night of April 8th, 2013. I don't remember who the 3rd scientist was, only that they were down below in one of the cabins in the hold. Kelly and I got one of the cabins on the deck level, the one closest to the gangplank. Now, I don't usually have trouble with seasickness, but if I know the seas are going to be rough, and they definitely were this time, I usually take a couple of Bonine the night before we leave port. That way, there's just enough in my system when we sail to keep me from puking if it gets really bad. After the first few hours at sea, even if it is rough, my body is acclimated to the waves and I'm fine. An unfortunate side effect of this is that Bonine does make me pretty drowsy, which is why I take it the night before. I'm normally a light sleeper, but if I've taken Bonine, I'm pretty much dead to the world. I did tell you that I don't remember anything about this incident, right? All I can say about that night is I slept like a rock. The next morning, I was up before dawn, about 5 a.m. After getting dressed, my next order of business was to visit the head, which is the nautical term for the restroom. As I opened my cabin door, the first mate was standing right there in front of me. He said something like, "Oh good, you're already awake. I didn't want to wake you up. I need to search your cabin for stowaways." Honestly, I thought he was joking. In fact, I'm pretty sure I said, "Ha ha, so funny," or something like that. But then I saw his face. He was not joking. I said, "Stowaways?" And then I heard what had happened. I could tell you the story, but I'll let NBC tell it for you.
This is new from overnight. A woman is arrested by police after they say she tried to steal a research vessel full of sleeping scientists.
Yes, a very bizarre incident. It all happened just a couple feet away from me over there, and that's where all the boats that the Scripps Research Facility uses and docks their boats there. And after the incident happened around 2 this morning, police got a call from a security guard at the Scripps Research Facility in Point Loma. A 46-year-old woman had made her way over the facility's fence and was trying to untie dock lines to a research ship full of scientists sleeping on board.
Yeah, that's right. Someone tried to hijack the ship, and I slept right through it. We couldn't delay the sailing, time and tide wait for no one, and as we pulled out of the dock, we could see the news crews filming us as we left. Sorry this picture's a bit fuzzy. With the technology of the time, it was hard to get a good shot on board a wildly rocking ship. As usual, we didn't get good cell service at sea, so we had to wait to see the news footage until we got home a few days later. In the meantime, the crew, who had gotten there even earlier than I woke up, told us what they knew. A lady had gotten into the shipyard somehow. Keep in mind, this place was completely fenced with barbed wire on top of the fence. But somehow she managed to get in and cast off all of the mooring lines on the ship. She just couldn't figure out how to get rid of the gangplank, which isn't surprising since that's usually done by crane. So the gangplank was the only thing that kept her from absconding with the ship. We went on with the science as planned. Kelly and I pulled our water and made our measurements. The Scripps crew pulled out an old buoy and replaced it with a new one. We even saw some really cool whales. A couple of days later, we sailed home, where we found out that we'd made not just local, but national news. Here's the HuffPost Weird News article. None of us were ever mentioned by name. Kelly and I and the other scientists were just scientists sleeping on board. Nonetheless, this is probably the closest thing I have to a claim to fame. I hope you enjoyed that story. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more science travel content. Bye!